Good Tuesday morning, guys. Welcome to Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness presented by the Yes Team Realtors. My name is Jerry Miller. We're live in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. On the I Love CVille Network, the Yes Team Realtors, trusted advisors in the game. You see that by how folks, they conduct themselves in business, in volunteering, and bettering the community. I think through the guests, Keith, the distinguished gentleman, welcomes on this show. Judah Wickower is our director. And Keith, speaking of guests, you're looking dapper, but this guy, James King, you were chatting with over the weekend.
I chatted with him over the weekend, chatted with him yesterday. I was thinking earlier this morning, what's that? I can never get the comedian's name right, with the two ferns, right? Forget. The two ferns? Judah, you're going to help us with this one? Gaffel, some Greek guy, anyway. There you go.
Oh, there you go, Judah.
And so I'm thinking at some point in the time, you're going to be, the guy between two jarheads, two Marines.
Well, it will be absolutely my pleasure. I want to say thank you both before so I do not forget, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We also want to give a little bit of attention to MarieBette, one of the fantastic sponsors of the show.
I just came from there, ordered my bread for the week and a couple of salads for our lunch meeting I got later on today, so I'm excited about it. They took a little bit of a 2-week break on their pizza event that they were doing because the actual pizza chef is on vacation. So we're doing. Do me a favor, Judah. Can you get a one shot on him?
Yeah. Wouldn't be a sign?
Look at that. Look the other way.
Yeah.
Look. Turn the other way.
Right there.
Damn.
There you go.
That's more Marine Corps than this.
A little haircut right there. Got it yesterday. So James King, fabulous people. Andre Xavier, welcome to the show. Tell us about King family this weekend.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited to talk to James. We went out there on Saturday afternoon, met up with my uncle and his brand new little puppy, and we played on the polo grounds. And man, it was
It's heaven, right?
It was heaven, and it was hopping.
Yeah.
But done super right? They had a hostess in the front. When you walked in, you had to have a mask on, explain the protocols to you, and it just was done well. And they have so much room and space there. And when we chat with James about his family's business out there, Judah's going to run a few pictures through the cycle of out there. But man, you just couldn't. Actually, we're talking about going out Sunday to watch the polo matches. So. We're going to take a little bit more time off.
Barbara Lundgren says, I'm a huge fan of James King. Andre Xavier, the King family is a real asset to our community. Great people. Chris is watching in Crozet. He watches the shows often. He says, my family routinely goes out to King family vineyards, especially during COVID. It's one of the ways we are maintaining our sanity with our children. This from Timmy. Timmy Smith watches this program frequently. We were at Polo. There's no better outing on a weekend to take out-of-towners than to King family for Polo. It is a piece of Charlottesville and Crozet. Richard Allen Fox, my friend, welcome to the program. I haven't seen you in a bit, and Richard, we love you. I'll reach out to you soon. He says hello. And so you got a lot of folks watching today, Keith Smith?
Yeah, it's so, I can't tell you how humbling it is. You shared with me over the weekend, Fridays, folks that were watching on the show, and it's just humbling. It just wants me to be better. So hopefully I do get better at this, and over time I actually will get to the level of the pro across the table for me.
I think you are undoubtedly a pro. You're a pro in so many different realms, and I think that's why people watch. Why don't we, before we get to James, give the viewers a tease of what's to be expected on the show after the interview with James?
So that's a great thing. Chemistry is working. I wrote the name Chris down.
Yeah.
So hopefully Chris can watch after the interview. I ran a couple of numbers about Crozet, and he's in the business. He lives in Crozet. I would love his impact, his comments, and what impacts that what we're talking about might have. So I really was hoping at the back end of the show we'll get a little two-way real estate agent back and forth.
Sure.
I had Greg Slater help me with some numbers today, so shout out to him. He got a 0-dark-30 phone call from me. So
wow, okay. So we'll talk the Crozet market after the interview with the fabulous James King. Reaching out to James now, a Marine, a businessman, a family man, just all around good people. We do have James on the line. Judah Wickower, if I could get the thumbs up. I'm getting the thumbs up. So James, I'm going to ask you one question, then I'll turn you around over to Keith Smith, my friend. Got quite a few people watching. How about an introduction to first you before we talk to family? What's James King all about?
Family first, obviously. Thanks for having me back on, by the way. Appreciate it. Keith, how's it going? Yeah, all about family here. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Kelly. We have 3 children, Connor 7, Charlotte's 5, and Nate just turned 1. I work every day with my 2 older brothers and my mom. So we're all here on the family compound and the farm working. So I'm first and foremost all about family. Obviously, work comes next because I live where I work. So it's tough to escape. So yeah, I work 8 days a week and help support the family business here. But I grew up in Charlottesville. I've been here since the 5th grade. I went to St. Anne's Belfield in Stab and had some broken time in there. I was a little sandbox kid there. So I've grown up in Charlottesville, went to the University of Virginia, studied history, played lacrosse for Dom Starja, and spent some time in the United States Marine Corps like Keith did. And got out in 2011 after a couple deployments, went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and wanted to slow down a little bit and start a family. So moved from California back to Crozet in 2012. So ever since then, I've been working in the family business and loving every minute of it. That's the down and dirty.
Man, I love that view behind you.
Yeah, I know, seriously.
We got some wine back here, Keith.
I see that.
Oh man, why? Well, hold it. Hey, Marine, we need to time out for a second. Next time, let's do the interview there.
Yeah. And James, our director, is saying you guys have some phenomenal internet at King Family Vineyard. He's giving you props.
Yeah.
We just got fiber thanks to Comcast. So
Cool. Good for you. Good for you. We'll talk a little bit later, but our favorite wine that you have is your rosé.
Thank you.
And not to sound like a little bit of a snob, but we've been fortunate enough to spend some time in Europe, and we go down to Saint Martin, which is a French island, and we're a little picky about our rosés, and your rosé is about as close as you could get to a Provence rosé, in my opinion. So kudos to you.
Our winemaker Mathieu Finot is extremely talented. He's from France, from the Rhone Valley, so he's got some experience over there that we're so blessed and happy to have here. So he's incredibly talented. We're lucky to have him.
The color is perfect. A rosé is so much about the color. Right?
Yeah.
The 2 jarheads talking about rosé.
Yeah.
Who knew that was going to happen, right?
Do you have bourbon?
Yeah, I do have bourbon. Much of it.
Well,
right there.
yeah. Well, when you get to be a certain age, a glass of rosé is okay.
I'm with you. I imbibe and I drink all kinds of things, and I am proud to say that I drink rosé every now and then, particularly in the summer when it's hot.
Oh, yeah,
it's
sure.
super refreshing. It's easy to drink. It's actually our most popular wine. That's the one we make the most of. So I love rosé in the summer. I'm happy to drink it.
So we're gonna bookend this interview with some jarhead stuff and put Jerry in the middle of it. But before we get there, for those, we probably should start off. For those who do not know what a jarhead means and what it refers to, you want to take that there, Marine? You want to explain what a jarhead is?
Sure, yeah, and fill in any holes. So a jarhead is essentially a nickname given to Marines by civilians and other services because our haircut is very what we would call high and tight on the sides. So we shave the sides of the head and maybe a little bit on top, but it looks like a jar. So hence jarhead. Did I get it right? Fill in any holes if I left anything out.
You got it right, Marine. I think it also implies that you can unscrew a Marine's brain a little easier than most
That's
people.
True.
But
That's true.
that might we'll save that secret for a little bit later. So man, awesome place. We were talking about it earlier, Yonna, and we talked offline. Yonna and I, my wife and I, went out there on Saturday. We're super pumped. We pull in. We're one of these weird people. When we pull in, your parking lot is packed. We just get super excited and pumped for you and your family. And you guys handled this COVID-19 spot on. We went way off on the corner by the well, I don't know. Maybe we weren't supposed to be there, but we were on the polo field with a dog, so maybe I just got myself into trouble.
No, you're right.
but it was super wonderful. So do me a favor. Tell me how it started. How did this whole thing start from a field or a acreage into what the awesomeness it is now?
Yeah, I'll give you the breakdown. So in 1995, my mom and dad wanted to move us out of Houston, Texas, where we were living at the time. They decided Houston wasn't the best place to raise three boys getting into their teenage years. So we moved back. So we'd been here in the mid 80s, and my dad started playing polo in 1980 in college in San Antonio. And so the one requirement he gave to the realtor was a flat piece of ground, about 13 acres, to build a polo field, because he wanted to play polo. It was his hobby and passion. So we found Billy White's farm at the time. He was in his late 80s and sold off half of his farm to us in 96. So we purchased the farm, and the intent at the time was just to, I guess my dad wanted to be a Virginia gentleman farmer. He wanted to cut hay and sell corn and play polo. Wine was not in the picture. Vineyards were not in the picture. So 1997 comes along, the very next year after we purchased the farm. We had a horrible drought. All the corn and alfalfa withered. There was no irrigation at the time. So we were literally sitting around the family table about to have dinner in 1997, wondering how we were going to pay off the farm note, how we were going to put groceries on the table. And we get a knock on the door. And my mom opens the door, and there's a young man there, and he said, "Hey, I've been driving around the county with this map. I just graduated from Virginia Tech with an enology degree, and I am interested in purchasing 10 acres of your land or leasing to grow grapes and make wine." And my mom kind of looked at him like he had a third eye growing out of his head and said, "I don't know what any of that means, but why don't you come in for dinner?" So he joined us for dinner, and he basically gave us 3 reasons why you can grow grapes well in this area in Central Virginia. Good elevation and good soil. We're about 800 feet above sea level here. Soil type is, it's called dike loam. It's kind of a silty loam. It's got some clay in it, but it's well-drained soil. We do have a lot of rain here. He also mentioned that there's almost always a gentle breeze blowing from the west to the east. Wind is very important in any fruit production because it wicks the moisture off the berry and the leaf and keeps disease pressure down. And the third reason he mentioned was that anywhere you can grow peaches and apples, you can grow grapes well. Y'all might know we're right behind Child's Peach Orchard, which is an amazing place if you've never been there. They grow peaches and apples, and so he basically described you're in the middle of this fruit-producing region, and it's been that way for almost 100 years. Crozet, Virginia used to be the peach capital of the world before Georgia, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
So he paints this picture and says, "What do you want to do?" And my parents, thought for a second, said, "Well, we don't really know you, and we still need to pay off this farm note, so, we're not interested in leasing or selling any land to you, but we wish you the best of luck." And he leaves his business card, and after dinner he takes off and was very appreciative for the meal. So that kind of got my dad's wheels turning. He was an amazing man with an amazing mind. He read a couple books on viticulture, and he asked who is now our vineyard consultant, Chris Hill, who's a local vineyard consultant, to come out and take a look at the land. And Chris came out and tested the soil and said, "Yeah, you could plant a vineyard here." So 1998 was the first year we planted vines. We planted Merlot and Viognier and established King Family Vineyards. At the time, we were just going to grow grapes and sell fruit. We didn't have any intention of making wine. 2 years later, fast forward to 2000, we made 460 cases of wine using Afton Mountain Vineyards equipment and facility. They were kind enough to open their doors to us, and our winemaker at the time was Michael Shaps, who is an amazing American winemaker, still makes wine for his company, Michael Shaps Wine Works in Charlottesville. So we were basically paying a vineyard consultant to show us how to grow, paying a winemaker to show us how to make wine. My mom and dad and 2 other employees were doing all the work with Michael's guidance, and we were using another facility. Well, it just so happened that in 2000, a European wine writer came to visit Virginia. He tasted probably 400 wines in the course of a week. And my father got called and said, "You need to go to Barbersville Vineyards, another great vineyard locally." And so my dad shows up, and he's on one end of this long farm table, and this wine writer's on the other. And he had picked 8 wines that he really liked. And he said to the group, "Virginia wines are getting better. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've had a great time. But that Merlot from Rosen Farm is really..." So all these really established winery owners and winemakers kind of look down at my dad like, "Who the hell is this guy from Texas? And why does he have good Merlot?" So the one thing that my dad knew at the table that no one else knew was there was a little bit of fruit in those other bottles from our vineyard, because we were selling the majority of our fruit to other local vineyards. So my dad knew at that time that we had a really good vineyard site. We should expand the vineyard and grow more grapes and open a winery. So we broke ground and opened the facility I'm standing in 2002. The vineyard's grown from 8 acres of grapes to 48 acres of grapes, and our production's gone from 460 cases to last year was 18,000 cases. So we've grown quite a bit. Polo, at the time our field started in 2004, was just people coming to the tasting room where my mom would pour them wine, and they'd look out and see my dad riding on a horse and swinging him out and hitting a ball. And they said, "What's going on?" And my mom would say, "Well, that's my husband. He's just playing around and doing what he loves to do. He's playing polo." So they started coming out and bringing lawn chairs and telling their friends. And so it's grown very organically to what Keith described just a moment ago about, several hundred people out here having a day.
Oh, brother, that was more than
enjoying the wine.
That was more than several hundred people, my friend.
Yeah, there might have been more than that. But it's grown very organically over the years, as has the tasting room and the vineyard. But we're all still in it here. My mom still works every day in the tasting room. We're upstairs in the office. My brother's the vineyard manager. I do whatever I'm told, and my other brother works outside. But we've got an amazing team here, and from the winemaking crew to the vineyard crew to the events side, the tasting room side, we're all trying to pull on the same oar and just provide the best possible customer service experience and the best product and the best place possible. So we've been successful, and we're going to continue to do this until we can't do it anymore. So that's kind of the story.
So you do what a good captain is told to do.
That's right.
Typically by your non-com.
That's right. I've got like 8 bosses. So
You're getting a lot of props here, James.
Yeah.
Sylvia Miller says, "Thanks to your dad for enriching the Virginia wine industry." That's from Sylvia Miller. Janice Vance Perone, Crozet, Virginia, loves King Family Vineyards. Big Ray and the Cool Cats. He says, "Big Ray and the Cool Cats love absolutely playing here." Okay. Mary Monk says, "My family goes to King Family as much as we possibly can." Carrie Rock says, "All this success, and this man is still super humble." James, I can continue, but it would take up the entire show. That's how beloved this man is, and his family is. His dad is Keith Smith.
So if you think about there's a ton of wonderful vineyards around, right? James, you would admit that in around
Absolutely,
Charlottesville.
100%.
But after listening to James, there's a very specific reason why they put family in their name. Because these are just an awesome family, folks. Started with dad. They're in it, doing it. We didn't have a chance to get into this, but in my business life, we've kind of got down to below bottom, right? In the crash of 2008.
I watched your show the other day.
Yeah. And we did the same thing. We sat around a table and said, "Okay, how are we going to do this?" And we did it. And we're now. I don't have a room like you have. I only have a few bottles, but we did that. So I got to go backwards a second. How long, this is how small this world is, how long was Dad in San Antonio in 1980?
Just for the college years and law school. So undergrad at Trinity, and then I couldn't tell you exactly.
So I was there at the same time.
4 to 6 years, really.
Yeah, I was in Lackland Air Force Base going through MP, Military Police Training School, in the beginning of the 80s, at the tender age of 18 and 19, my interest was not necessarily polo, but we were in the same place in the same part of the world. It just amazes me how small this world is. And the Childs, right? Their daughter actually taught my oldest daughter, who's now probably as old as you, 34,
Wow.
right,
Wow.
in Fluvanna County, and we've been tight with the family ever since that. And it's just that's why I love this place so much.
Everyone's like 2 degrees apart.
Yeah, there's no such thing as 6 degrees.
The world shrinks.
Yeah, the world shrinks. James, how about, and everybody's asking this, the impact of your father, not only on your family, the impact of your father on the wine industry in totality, certainly in Central Virginia, one of the godfathers here. Anywhere you want to go on that topic, James?
Yeah, my dad had a tremendous impact on the Virginia wine industry. He was involved from, I want to say, 2009 through 11. He spent a tremendous amount of time driving from Charlottesville to Richmond, Virginia, to help draft and pass legislation to help the Virginia wine industry, primarily because in 2007, when we were building our event venue, which is next door, called the Carriage House, my dad went down to apply for a special use permit with Albemarle County, who we have a great working relationship with still today, and will continue to do that for many moons. But at the time, they said, when my dad asked, how many events can we do per year? It was 1 per month. And that would have put us out of business. And so he knew that something needed to change. And, the grape industry, growing grapes is hard enough. You're battling Mother Nature. It's very, very difficult to grow grapes well here. And making wine is tough, and to do everything on the wine side of the house is tough. Having events at facilities in the event industry, wineries, breweries, cideries, it really small businesses to make ends meet and try to get ahead. And so, to answer your question, my dad spent almost 2 years drafting and helping pass legislation to put into the state code, which basically made weddings and events usual and customary at farm wineries and breweries and cideries and distilleries. So basically, before his work, if you were going to have an event venue, you couldn't. And so you were restricted, at least by your locality, and it was not at the time in the state code to have events. And so because a tremendous amount of what he did, along with a lot of great other people in Richmond and Crozet and Charlottesville and Albemarle and across the state, they worked tirelessly to help pass this legislation, which basically allowed people in this industry to have weddings and events whenever they wanted on their farms, as long as they played by the rules and were offset from the roads and made sure that they built the facility properly and to be a good neighbor. A lot of the barriers that he broke through were regarding noise and traffic and trying to be a good neighbor. People that live in the country, they don't like a lot of traffic on the roads. They don't like noise. And we understand that. And so if you build the facility properly and you mitigate those factors to be a good neighbor, but to also provide an amazing space, it can be done, and it can help you get ahead in business. And so getting back to my father, he was an amazing man and really helped the Virginia wine industry on that side of the house and in a lot of other areas too. So I wouldn't be here today, obviously, if it weren't for him. And this place, King Family Vineyards, wouldn't be where it is today without the work he has done. So he was a champion of the wine industry. Love the guy dearly, miss him so much. He passed away last year, but we will never forget all the things he's done for us. And I know that the Virginia wine industry is never going to forget him. So he was a great guy. And, he did a lot for the industry.
I'm tearing up a little bit, brother, because I'm thinking about our show that we did on 9/11 and dads and and a buddy of mine that lost his dad. I'm gonna get a little wonky on you for a second.
Shoot.
I'm trying to figure out a way to explain how much of a big deal is that what your dad did with the state, right? So we had a conversation, I think on Monday, with Dave Norris about the Dillon rule. So what James's dad was able to do, what Mr. King was able to do in these group, is to change the state code, the state charter, because Albemarle County, as much as they wanted to do it, they can't.
They're limited.
They can't do anything
Yeah.
that the state doesn't let them to do that. And anybody who's ever done something like this, has ever been in this space, to be honest with you, to go through Marine Corps boot camp or officer candidate school, right, is easy compared to that. That is a huge Herculean task to push the state to change a code. So, my hat's off to Pop, to Dad.
I mean, he's got 5 or 6 different wineries and vineyards watching right now, giving his father props for this.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think the lesson to take away is that my dad always said you have to show up and pay attention. I mean, if you don't show up and you're not in the room, you could get legislated out of business tomorrow. You need to pay attention, and as citizens of this country, and doesn't matter where you are or what you do, if you're in business in particular, you need to pay attention to what's going on in your locality, whether it's getting on the Zoom meetings in Albemarle and paying attention to what's on the agendas, because and all of it affects you, but if it really affects you, you have to show up and speak up. Because if you're not there to say what's on your mind and why it's important to you and how it's going to affect your business, you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be out of business. So I think, and people, George Hodson at Veritas has kind of carried my dad passed the baton to George a little bit and gave him this big binder with everything he had ever done on the legislative side of the house. He's like, George, this is my Bible. We want you to have it. And so there's a lot of leaders in this industry that have recognized the importance of showing up, paying attention, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and understanding how current and proposed legislation is going to affect an industry. And we need to continue. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. I don't care if you're a winery, brewery, cidery, restaurant, whatever. You have to pay attention. You have to show up and speak up in a tactful, professional way so that people are willing to listen to you and understand your point of view. And if we're not willing to have the moral courage to do that, then we don't deserve to be doing what we're doing.
Well
so
said.
We need to continue to do that every day in our own lives, professionally, personally, and then when it gets to an industry, you have to be willing to show up, pay attention, and speak up. So I know everyone listening understands the importance of that, because we watch people like my dad and many, many others do that to get a lot of things done. And so I think that I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful, because I know that there's always going to be someone that's inspired and has that fire in their belly to step up to the plate, take charge, and help get it done as a team. So I'm confident that the Virginia wine industries, the breweries and the cideries and distilleries are going to continue to prosper, because there's going to be many, many people now and in the future to continue to do that. So
James, 99% the success is 99% showing up. I got that backwards.
Gotta show
up. But I need to say something to you. And I'll look at you when I say it. I've never met your father. I just did now.
Well said.
I just did now. You are carrying on Dad's
No doubt.
legacy, right? Never met him, but I'm sure as hell looking at him right now. Love you, man.
Thanks. Love you, brother.
And that kind of, it's. I was thinking earlier this morning, how do we talk about this love that two jarheads have for each other, and I just don't know how to do it, right? Maybe you can take a stab at it, but but I want to, I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to you, and I'm going, that's your father right there. So congratulations. My goal in my life is to become half the man my father is. I think you achieved it. I think you achieved it.
No, there's no way. That guy was a Herculean man. But that's all you can do is strive. Like, nobody's perfect, and my dad wasn't perfect, but he was an amazing man. And all you can do is try every day to make your kids proud of you. And that's my goal now. Is like I want to be a great dad and a great husband.
You're there. You got it. You got it, man.
So that's what we should all do.
So adapt and overcome, right? That's
improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's what you got to do.
So speaking of that, right? We all just had this huge thing happen to us, right?
Are we talking COVID-19 here?
COVID-19.
Yeah.
Right.
How did he do it?
Talk about how the family adapted and went from that to what I experienced on Saturday.
And James, before you go down that road, will you first talk about the feelings of vulnerability and despair and fear that we all had in March, especially as ones and twos at a business where we have to call the shots and we have people's payroll and livelihood and people who are paying their mortgage depending on the decision making we do? I mean, how about the vulnerability and the fear first?
We've all felt it, but it's difficult to describe the crushing anxiety and fear as a business owner. But I guess I can describe it in this way about through our actions. So when everything went south in the spring, we shut down. We started working in the dark. We turned off our lights to save electricity. Our 35 part-time staff members did not come in. Our full-time staff members were working in areas that they don't usually work, doing jobs they don't normally do. We all wear 17 hats every day. We were wearing 23 hats because we had to do the things, and we're all happy to do those things, but we were doing more work. We were panicking. We were going to the grocery store, not wondering what was going to be there. And we were trying to save as much money as possible, cutting subscription services that were great to have when times are good, but no, we need to eat food. We need to pay our bills and pay our taxes and try to take care of our staff. And so it was terrible. I can't describe the feeling of crushing anxiety and not knowing if we were going to be able to survive. However, one thing we did have going for us was about 2 years ago, we had kind of revamped our website. When I got here in 2012, our website at the time couldn't do e-commerce, couldn't buy online. I remember in 2006, my dad said, "We don't need a website." It's like, "Dad, we need a website." And when I got back in 2012, I said, we need to do some e-commerce. And he was like, what? He didn't know what I was talking about. So I asked for a lot of money. I asked for a lot of money to take nothing, basically a basic website, and turn it into an e-commerce platform, which we did. And it definitely paid for itself back then. But that was kind of our saving. We all pulled on the same order to make. Basically, we were 100% online sales before we started doing curbside pickup. So we've sold more wine online thanks to our customers and followers and wine club members this year than we ever did last year by leaps. And as the guidelines were coming out, we said, let's start some curbside pickup. When I think phase 1 or 2 started, phase 1 maybe of reopening. But man, what Keith described on Sunday, we were nowhere near the volume of what we typically do. So we went without pay. First and foremost, as owners, you lead the way. You're not going to cut your employee's salary without cutting your own first. So we were going with no pay. Our full-time staff had taken pay cuts. Our part-time staff were not coming in at all. It was really, really scary. And I can't describe it any other way than unless all the business owners out there watching and all the families, everyone's like, I don't watch TV anymore. I got rid of my TV. All the luxuries, they vanish, and you really worry about the bare bones, basic necessities. Like I need to eat, I need to drink some water. I need to have clothes on my back, a roof over my head, and that's it. So
And
that's
take care of your people, right?
Sure, and take care of your people. But basically, you go into survival mode of what can we cut and get rid of? What do we not need? And I think, honestly, looking back, it's a really healthy exercise to do for families and businesses because, like, I don't need that. I'm going to save money. And I think if there is a silver lining to COVID, and it's a horrible, horrible thing that we've all been through and are still experiencing, but I think it's amazing to see all the good that's come out of it. We did try to give back. We were kind of wondering where our next meal would come from, and we knew a lot more people were out there not as well off. So we partnered with the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank in May. We had a fun drive and a food drive for 30 days. And at the end of it, we worked with Colleen Berger at the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. We raised enough money, and our customers also donated food. We had a box outside so they could come drop off food. It was like 1,726 meals were raised to provide for people that really, really need food and don't know where their next meal is coming from. So I think it's important, and I think we spoke about this at one point, but I think it should be on our mind, whether we're a business owner or a family. If you can help people, you need to try to help people. And it doesn't need to be a lot, but you need to try to do something. So if that means, walking next door and checking on your neighbor, or, bringing someone a home cooked meal, if their husband or wife just lost a job or had to, get another job or something like that. I think it's important to try to do that if we can. And I think it kind of lifts up our community and helps everyone kind of see the good in it. And so I think that's been the silver lining. And also, people getting outside more, hiking more and biking more and doing good things for their body, and kind of putting down the phone and, or picking up the phone. I know Netflix and all these streaming services have done well, but it's just been interesting to see, who's done well and how they've done well. And I think, honestly, improvise, adapt, and overcome, all right? Like, you have to find out what you're able to do and leverage that and make it a strength. And so that's what we did. That's how we got by, literally, and social media and online sales. I kind of dabble in the social media here with Matthew Brown, our wine director, and we were posting like twice a day, which we've never done before. And it felt like a lot. But it was working, and so we had to continue to do that to make it work. And so that kind of slowly started an upward trend, and as phase 2 and phase 3 have come along, we've been able to kind of slowly open up. All of our tastings and our glass and bottle sales are primarily outside. For those who don't want to come in, we do still have curbside service available, and obviously Polo as well. So we've been super thankful and lucky, and we've all worked really, really hard across the spectrum of operations to make it happen. And thankfully, I don't want to, call it now, but I think we're confident that we're going to be able to survive this and come out on the other end okay, and better off knowing where we were weak and where our strengths are and how to kind of reinforce the weaknesses and also continue to play our strengths as well. So it was so scary. I hope we never have to go through that again. I hope no one ever has to go through that again. But I'm glad we had to do it because you realize what you're made of and what you can get through. So the next crisis, whatever it may be, whether it's a further restriction, isn't going to seem so scary, I hope, because there's always another thing down the road.
So
always another battle.
Strength, weakness, opportunities, threat, right? SWOT.
SWOT analysis, yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And so you did your improvise, you adapt, you overcome, you did your SWOT analysis. Oh, by the way, the name family is in your name. Everybody gathered around. Everybody figured out what we needed to do. Took care of your people, right? And you move forward. Yeah. And I can tell you by by what I walked around on Saturday and Sunday, I think you achieved it, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I think you achieved it. I think, and then just if we're going back to the food bank thing, I know that because my wife and I are pretty active in the Blue Ridge Food Bank, and literally, they were like the first ones in. So my hat's off to you, brother. Well done. When we're offline, I'm going to reach out to you. I've got a book I want to share with you. I've forgotten the Marine's name who wrote it, but it's the United States Marine Corps Leadership and Principle, right, traits applied to business.
Nice.
It's
awesome.
really interesting to watch, right? He kind of takes all the jarhead out of it and puts like normal business stuff in it, and you read it and you get an MBA. Or at least I thought I got one, but what do I know?
I appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah, offline I'll get that to you. So what's up next for the Vineyard, man? You guys you're doing polo. You're back at it 100% and safe. At least from my perspective,
I
looking
don't think it's 100%.
looking outside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching here. Let's not put the man in hot water right now.
Got it.
No,
Well, let me put it this way. I had to wait 15 minutes to get my bottle of rosé.
No, it's
Sorry about that.
No, everything's fine. We're still going to continue to follow all
Sure,
the
of
CDC
course.
guidelines and keep people safe. Obviously, the wedding side of the house, and I don't know about
There you
other wineries, but I do know. I mean, I think Jerry, you're talking with Barbara the other day. The wedding
She's watching
industry.
right now.
Hey, Barbara, how are you? The wedding industry, at least from my perspective, which is all I have is what we do here. We're down quite a bit on the event side, simply because people had to cancel their weddings or postpone them to move to the right. And so, that income that we would have had coming in is being pushed to the right, which is fine. And people need to stay safe. And we've been so happy to say, hey, let's do your wedding next year. And so we're working with Amanda Barber, our awesome event coordinator, is working with all of our clients to ensure that they're feeling comfortable to come in when they can come in. And the sad tragedy of it is that travel restrictions, as well as a lot of people can't come in from other states, other countries to attend weddings. But, I had an email yesterday saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to attend, but do you have good Wi-Fi out there so I can zoom into this ceremony? I was like, we've got great Wi-Fi. We're going to get you an iPad to make sure you can watch the ceremony from wherever you are. So I guess to answer your question, things are good. They're getting better. Events are growing, I guess, postponed, pushed to the right, which is fine. That needs to happen. But what's next for us? I think brilliance in the basics, not to coin another Marine term, but, continuing to maintain a great facility, continuing to provide awesome customer service with our amazing staff, continuing to make a great product. 2020 has been tough on vineyards. We've had a pretty bad spring frost. We lost probably over 50% of our crop this year. I'd have to chat with Matt Tufano, our winemaker, to get an exact guesstimate of the percentage we lost in the spring. But we're going to have lower volumes this vintage because of that frost, which is not great. But again, that's the game you play when you play against Mother Nature. We are going to expand, our patio a little bit as far as put some more brick on the ground. We were talking about the other day, more bathrooms. That's kind of been a big sticking point for us, is we need to make sure that, if Keith's waiting 15 minutes for a bottle of wine, we can't have people wait, that long to go to the bathroom. So we're going to expand our facilities to make sure our guests are safe, comfortable, relaxed, and can enjoy the day when they come out here. So I would say just keep on doing what we know how to do well, trying to get back on the event side of things. As time moves on, hopefully we get a vaccine created and restrictions lift more, whether that's this year, next year, whenever it's going to be, it's going to be. So we're going to do the best we can now and plan for the future. Polo side of things has grown. This is the first year we've had polo sponsors, which has been really fun. Thalheimer, Cushman & Wakefield, Flow Automotive, Acme Fireplace and Stove, Core Real Estate, and the lodge at Old Trail have all helped us grow our polo side of things as well, the polo club. So Roseland Polo is growing. We got a U.S. Polo Association grant to help us build a scoreboard.
Nice.
We are going to build a more robust sound system that's very, very low volume. Simply, we basically hear a lot from our fans. You know, I love coming out to polo. It's great. The views are incredible. The wine's good. It's just such a relaxing day. But I have no idea what's going on. So there's an education.
James, that's a simple answer. Just get another bottle of rosé. Everything will be okay.
That's what I do.
So there's an education piece, and so we're trying to. We played with kind of a smaller sound system this year that was, you know, low volume, so we could have the national anthem before the match for one, but also we wanted to have some play-by-play commentary to let fans know like what's happening. And I think the scoreboard helps with the clock, but so we're trying to do that as well. And on the winemaking side,
you guys should set up a live stream out there and live stream all those matches. That would be amazing.
we've thought about
chemistry.
that.
I'm literally waiting for James to slow down.
I mean, people would watch the live stream, and you could expose your sponsors on the live stream to it as well. Package them together. That would be sick, James.
And I know a guy that can help you with that.
I was going to say, Jerry, I need your help.
You have the tech. Now, Kerry Rock is saying, James, don't forget about that Waterboys event.
There you
go. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Kerry. You're the man. So my good friend Chris Long, who many of you know, he is coming out here, I believe, the 17th of October to do a Waterboys fundraiser. Waterboys raises money to bring clean drinking water to people all over the world. I think they just partnered with Navajo Nation in the Southwest United States, so they're going to be working domestically. I did some work with Kerry and some other water boys in Tanzania, East Africa last year. Climb Mount Kilimanjaro and raise money for some wells over there. So Chris is an amazing guy. He's done so many amazing things. But if you can come out, look up Water Boys online, buy some tickets, help support them. It's an amazing organization. So yeah. Thanks,
we'll put some of this stuff in the feed so everybody can kind of go back when they watch it at a later date to go through it. Cool. You know, you're doing it right. You're doing it safe. You know, and I just can't tell you how much fun we had on Saturday. My wife and I probably tend to work a little bit too much like you guys do, and we just said, hey, we need a place to go and just decompress, and we just made a beeline from Fluvanna County to Crozet and your family's vineyard, and we were asked to leave, just so that you know. James came a certain time, they said, you know, you need to leave. I went, okay, and we left.
That's not true.
No, I'm only teasing you. So we're like way over on time, and this has been super great. Don't apologize. Look, man, awesome family, and all I wanted to do was to celebrate you and your family, and hopefully we did this today. You know, it's just you guys are doing it right, and anything we could do to help support you guys, that's what we'll do. You know, and at some point I'm going to have to bring you back on because I really wanted to tell a bunch of jarhead lies and put Jerry in the middle. So what I think
next time,
I think what we'll do is once we're past all of this stuff, we'll put Jerry in the middle seat, and you'll get on one side, and I'll get on the other side, and maybe we'll do a little drill instructor on him. What do you think?
That sounds like I've got a lot of practice doing that with my wife and mother-in-law, so I think I might be ready for you guys.
James, thank you, my friend. Thank you for taking the time out. Thanks, you for doing this.
Hey, James, you're good people, dude. You have a good one.
You too, buddy. You too. Thank you.
All right. James King, boys and girls, A+, A++ people. Give James King a like and a share. Give him a like and a share on any of the Facebook pages you're watching. Judah Wickhauer, if you can join us on set. I'm going to get this Instagram live going for the back portion of the show so we can get Real Talk, the Yes Team Realtors, and King Family Vineyards even more exposure here on the show. What a great guy.
Man, I was thinking about Friday's show on 9/11. I was thinking about the show that you did in your dad and my dad, and I was frankly trying not to get. I'm glad James did most of the talking because I was getting a little emotional, to be honest with you. But you know, it's. I wish I had the opportunity to meet the man, but we sure as heck just did it in my book.
Absolutely. 100%, 100%. All right, so let's go. We're going to talk Crozet Market, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm excited to spotlight what you have going on here.
Is Chris still on?
We're welcoming an Instagram live audience right now. You know, he's got it, I think, set up as Keith Smith and not the Yes Team Realtors. But you know what? That's fine. We'll go with that instead of streaming it to the Yes Team page.
So to tell you how much of a class guy James is, I just got a thank you text.
Oh, I got it as well.
Unbelievable,
I
right?
got it as well. James King just joined us Instagram on the show as we stream to now 12,200 people on I Love CVille Instagram. All right, Crozet Market, guys. For Instagram that's watching now, we just had James King of King Family Vineyards on. We are now going to segue from King Family Vineyards, which is a bona fide, beautiful, just paradise and oasis, to the Crozet real estate market. And I believe the distinguished gentleman has some slides for us today.
I did. I took the co-producer of the show, made a suggestion, and hopefully I did a good job, and hopefully we can get this thing, get it to work. Okay, can you put up the Batman thing? Because
please.
I got a holy cow Batman, great Scott Robin,
love it,
on it. So. Hopefully Chris is watching, and a couple of the real estate agents are still watching to talk a little bit.
You have a lot of folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when Judah gets an opportunity to put
it's
up,
on screen.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Crozet slide number 1, if you don't mind, please. So what I did is I took a look at the Crozet, and again, shout out to Greg Slater. He got a 0 Dark 30 phone call from me, and because one of the tricky things about
look at the screen, guys.
One of the things in Crozet, it's a little difficult. You're gonna have to really understand the Paragon system to get the data right, and hats off to him. Thank you very much for what he did. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a look at what was active and pending.
Sure.
Currently, like as of today. So today, active right now, there is 27 homes, but I wanted to break it out. Normally, we've been talking about not including new construction. And I wanted to do this in Crozet because new construction is such a big part of the Crozet market, right? So active right now, there's 27 units active. These are existing, and there's 68
new construction.
So if we took a look at other jurisdictions, those numbers would be totally reversed. It would be much more existing versus new construction. And then in the pending column, there's 41 homes that went pending versus 27. So that's a huge number difference between the two. So we're still upside down in that market, right? There's still more homes going pending on the active side. Excuse me.
Seller's market.
Absolutely.
Undoubtedly.
Interesting though, on the new construction was on par, pretty much 68 versus 70. What I really want to get to is what happened the last 90 days, year over year. So if you wouldn't mind getting the Crozet slide number 2. And this is where I needed Greg Slater's help on this. So new construction in 2020, there was 38 units sold. Median sales price was $509. 2019, wait to this number. 2019 was 35 units sold. So pretty much on par, right? 3 units different. I'd call that even.
Yeah, 564.
So what do you think that is? Why do you think new construction in 19 is $55K higher than currently?
Tell me, what do you attribute that to?
Difference, the ratio, which I don't have the exact number, between single family attached and single family detached.
So you're saying a lot of this new construction in 2020, which is driving down the median sales price, are the townhomes in Old Trail.
Or duplexes or villas, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that are attached.
Correct.
And naturally, because a piece of real estate is attached, as opposed to having single-family R1 where you own the land, that's going to drive the price down.
Well, you still own the land and townhomes and stuff, but it's a much smaller piece. So with townhomes and duplexes, you increase density per footprint. So if you have a lot that's this size and you could put 4 houses on it, the price drops down versus 1 house, right?
Right.
So
very good stuff right there, Keith Smith. The slide is helpful. Because it's going to help people understand what you're saying. Very good stuff.
Yes, Mr. Co-producer.
No.
Yeah, no.
It's beautiful.
to be honest with you, I called you right and said you were right, I was wrong, and we did it.
Well, keep teaching us. I'm loving this.
Yeah. So before we talk a little bit about that, I actually had, which blew my mind, about 40 phone calls thanking me for the aircraft carrier analogy I did last year, on Friday about the market and talking all that stuff. So it was pretty cool. So current sold 7, the last 90 days. This is existing now, right? So new construction we just did. We're gonna, there was a difference of 2019 of 564 versus 509, so roughly $55,000 difference. Existing 2020, 82 sold, medium sales price. So that's, Judah, I apologize. That's slide number 3. Crozet slide number 3, I apologize. 82 units, median sales price was $435. In 19, it was 56 units. So 2020 was up 26 units, right? Median sales price in 2019 was $373.
Good Lord.
So it's an interesting thing, and that's the reason I'm hoping somebody.
That's a direct attribution to no inventory on the market.
That's it, brother.
It's a direct attribution to no income on the market and the American dream, white picket fence, backyard, single-family home to raise your kids at a phenomenal school district.
So what I'm hoping is like Chris or somebody might want to chime in and see if they're seeing some of the same stuff. But again, I really wanted in Crozet to segregate. Do 2 separate runs of new construction versus existing because the numbers were very huge when I was looking at them earlier this morning. But so existing sales, right? We've got 2020 82 versus 56 in 2019. So that's a huge jump of 26 units. And then the home sales year over year, same time period, was up 62 grand. But on new construction, it's reversed.
That's incredible.
And I picked up the phone and said, Greg,
what's going on?
Tell me because I'm about ready to talk about
That's
this.
a phenomenal statistical trend.
Yeah. Tell me what's going on. Tell me why new construction is very different than existing. And then all of us who know Greg very well, he said, hey, stupid. And I went, oh.
Greg Slater, we love you, Greg Slater.
Well, I know he's out selling, so he's not watching today.
So we had a drop in new construction, which can be attributed to the rollout of attached new construction, townhomes, villas, condos, whatever it may be, and those coming at a price point that's a little bit lower than a single-family detached. However, because there's little, I don't want to say no, there's less single-family detached inventory in 2020 versus 2019, the price for that detached inventory is going up. I mean, Keith, it's going up an astronomical amount, $62,000 year over year.
So that's everything. That's attached and detached, right?
Yeah.
I didn't segregate that out. But to go to the new construction thing, and we've talked about this on the show before, we've had guests on the show talk about this before. It's a lack of inventory.
Right.
It's a lack of inventory of land, of lots, right? So they have through 2019 eaten up their sales on the detached product, right? The single family detached product, and they're pivoting over to the attached product, and the whole market out there is growing, right? I mean, it's clearly growing. You saw that on Saturday when you went out there, and I was standing online, and literally, good thing about hearing aids, your microphones are backwards, right? And I'm listening to everybody in the line. All they're talking about is real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, and wine, of course.
Yeah.
But real estate, real estate. So it's pretty interesting. The market out there is just growing. I felt after we had a conversation with James and celebrate the beautiful King family and what they're doing, that it'd be real smart for us to try to attack or approach the Crozet housing market. So it's a very high level set of numbers. I didn't break down specifically, and I'm going to ask Greg to come on because he's really an expert out there. Not that we're not, Yonna and I are not, but particularly in the new construction component. And the reason why I think it's important to bring him on is this is per Paragon. Mm-hmm. Greg follows actual contracts because of his connections with the local builders out there. So actually, homes that are under contract that maybe not necessarily make the MLS. It's pretty interesting.
The Downtown Crozet Initiative group just shared this show
Cool.
to the Downtown Crozet Initiative Facebook page that looks like has about 2,000, 3,000 people on it. And that's how things like this start going viral. The Downtown Crozet Initiative is making an effort to help transform the Barnes lumber site into a successful, vibrant town center that represents the unique character of Crozet. They literally just shared it to their following. When this initiative and the Barnes Lumberyard site becomes what this vision is going to be, I mean, you talk about an area that is already popular, and Crozet is extremely popular. You have Pro Renata, you have Crozet Pizza, you have King Family Vineyards, you have the Charles Peach. I mean, you have just phenomenal offerings. Then you put a downtown in the midst of Crozet, a walking downtown with music and shops and restaurants and a live, work, play. I mean, good night.
So when COVID-19 is over, because it will be over at some point, one of Yonna and I's favorite places to hang out at is the library in Crozet.
Yeah, love the library.
It's unbelievable, and it's just awesome, and it just feels great to be in there and do it. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it's just going to move forward. And as you were talking about this, I'm trying not to get choked up here. I don't know what to say about somebody forwarding the show out. It's just...
Well, it happens every week. Literally.
I know that, but...
Give Keith Smith a like and a share. Share the show here. I mean, it happens every week.
I know that, but, well, I don't know that because I don't see all that stuff. But it's just, I'm actually a little choked up that somebody would take the time. To me, to be speechless, as we said, I don't, I'm honored. I'm just freaking honored. I don't know what to say.
We love,
you need to save me here.
Yeah, we say thank you. We thank Roy Wheeler Realty Company. We thank Pearl Certification, Charlottesville Settlement Company, and Bill Tucker. We thank Pearl and the fabulous folks that help identify the fabulous efficiencies of your home that you can help market and sell your home because of those efficiencies. Dairy Market and Chris Henry, Scott Morris, one of the fantastic lenders, Interstate Pest and Service Companies. Judah, look at the, rotate them on screen. Thank you, Judah. I mean, these are the supply chain for getting from zero to close.
So as we were doing an interview, to tell you how good Interstate Pest Controls is, they were texting myself and our client care coordinator to say, hey, heads up, we're done. But they were doing an inspection.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
I mean, that's just, the way that they operate and communicate.
Our firm has worked hand in hand with Interstate Pest and Service Companies for, Stephanie, is it 8 years now? I think it's 8 years now, Stephanie. And I have literally... So is this man. I'm literally seen the top, Mr. Wells, go to me and say, in COVID-19, I am focused on my team.
Good for you.
And I was like, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, well, much like the King family, right?
Yeah.
They get it.
Successful businesses.
They know what they need to do. They pull up their bootstraps, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Treat your people right. Treat everybody right. And you will do well. You will always do well. It just blows my mind that we have such awesome sponsors that believe in us enough to do this, and plus the people that watch it, and I get these texts and I get these messages that I was like, whoa. I've got some from out west this weekend.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I'm
social media used for. Social media used to create solidarity. We are cautious optimists. We are trying to bring approachable knowledge to you on something that is in your hands constantly.
So it's like a tool, right?
Yeah,
tool can be used.
It's not divisive. It's to bring people together.
Absolutely, but and it's just really awesome, and I'm actually really pumped about Friday's show. Because
South Street Brewery just shared the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'm just speechless. I just don't know. I'm just so honored and blessed that somebody will take the time to share something like that. But on Friday, we're gonna kind of tackle. You and I are gonna spend time together, no guests, and we're gonna tackle
Special time, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Only time we're going to do, well, this is the second time. This is the last time. We're going to do it at 10 a.m.
Yes, Mr.
Okay, the last time.
Well, we need to talk about a little bit why, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna spitball, you and I, and we're gonna see how our chemistry is going about why isn't buying a home all about price, right? And what's the rest of it? It's not necessarily money on what you buy and sell something. It's all the other things. So I'm really excited about. I've been actually working on the show for a couple of days, and
wow,
we're
buying
gonna have
a home is not all about price.
It's not all about price.
That's going to be a challenge for me.
You and I are gonna have a lot of fun about that.
Yeah, it's not about.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to that as well, Keith Smith.
So the reason, and everybody, we're going to start on 10 o'clock on Friday and end at 10:45.
Put it in your calendar now, because I know you guys in 2 years of doing this, especially with this particular show, Real Talk, that has got 2 days on the I Love CVille Network, Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. It's almost been, burned into your subconscious that it starts at this time. So changing it even 15 minutes is something that's out of the norm. So please make note that it's a 10 a.m. start on Friday for this show, and it will run to, is it going to be 10:45 we're all there?
I have to walk out at 10:45.
Okay, so he's out at 10:45, so you're going to really want to get online at 10 a.m.
And we'll push something out a little bit before then. I chair the Regional Housing Partnership.
Sure.
And I am I'm doing the emceeing on an event, and so I need to get myself to the Planning District Commission to get in that. We're going to bring in some pretty awesome people, and it's going to be a pretty good roundtable about affordable housing and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of a, it's designed specifically for governmental folks, so I'm going to bring anybody in.
I love it.
But man, thank you to you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you to Judah.
We get to talk.
And Lisa.
We get to talk for a living. It's wonderful.
And people listen. It just blows my mind.
It's wonderful. 10 a.m. Friday, guys. A couple notes for you. I'm heading to Richmond for work shortly. So the I Love CVille show, no show today, for those that are wondering. And we will be back in the saddle tomorrow for that particular program. This show is presented by the Yes Team Realtors, who are trusted advisors in the game. The man showcases his vulnerability and his integrity and character routinely in front of a lot of people Tuesdays and Fridays on this network. So if you're looking for someone that I feel like you can count on that is going to run through fire for you, it's Keith and Yonna Smith and the Yes Team Realtors. How about a final word for all those that are listening?
Go out and see the King Family's Vineyard this weekend.
Yeah?
Go out and do it.
There you go.
You'll enjoy it. We're going on Sunday. We're going to go watch some. I have no idea what polo's about, but we're going to go watch it.
Amazing.
We're going to
Better
go
check
watch
the schedule.
Yeah, I will check the schedule. Yes, sir. I believe he said it was this Sunday.
Okay.
No, I may be wrong.
Okay.
But we'll check it. Well, you know what? If there's no polo, I'm pretty sure we'll get a bottle
Oh, I
or
was
two.
going to say, you still be okay.
I think I'll be okay.
I think you're going to be
I'll
okay,
be
too.
okay.
Judah Wickower's our director. He's Keith Smith. My name is Jerry Miller. This is Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness, presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Airs Tuesdays and Fridays from 10:15 to about 11:15 on the I Love CVille Network. Special start time Friday at 10 a.m. And we're going to talk about why price, and this is very difficult for me to say as a businessman, why price might not be the deciding factor of why you're going to buy your home. And I have a feeling he's going to go down the road of these sappy things called feelings and memories. Just being sarcastic with you.
No, I can't tell you. I'm so super pumped for this show.
Me too.
We're going to have a lot of fun, man. Looking forward to it. Looking for a bunch of chemistry going back and forth, and we might end up forgetting about these cameras, but we're going to have fun.
Per usual. Judah, thank you. You guys have a good morning. We will see you tomorrow at 12:30 on the I Love CVille show. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Nicely done.